I remember waking up one night just hearing weird sounds. So I walked in the dark and I literally seen the doll. I'm not kidding you guys. When they were burning this doll, it looked like Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel and welcome if you are new here. My name is Fabiola. So in today's video, I'm going to be doing a story time about the time when I had a haunted doll. Yes, you heard that right. First, I want to make a disclaimer that this happened around the time I was about 5 to 6 years old. I've only had 3 paranormal experiences in my life. So the first 2 happened when I was around 5 or 6. Now the third incident that happened to, well, not only me but my husband was when I was 17. I just had my daughter, my firstborn. So it was a while ago. My daughter is about to be 12. Let's get to the story. Okay. So I was at a baby shower party with the teen mom group that I used to go to. You guys know, some of you guys know, I was a teen mom. I got pregnant at 16. And so I used to go to this little group and it was just for teen moms. It was so much fun, guys. Oh my gosh. I made hot chocolate and the whipped cream melted. It looked super cute when I made it. I figured I needed some hot chocolate for story time. Anyway, I was at the baby shower. I thought my friend Evelyn and her mom were going to take me to my house, but they couldn't. So I had to call my husband to come pick me up. He's like, I'll be there in an hour. So I stayed there late. I helped clean up and everything. Anyway, we got in the truck. Everything was fine. And we're going down this highway. I'm not going to say the highway, of course, but so we were going about 65 and we were in my husband's big F-250 truck, which is really, really loud. Anyway, we hear this witch sound like, you know, like a witch, you know, like how you hear it in the movies and stuff. And he's like, is that a ringtone? I'm like, no. I'm like, are you making that sound? He's like, no. He's like, it must be your ringtone. I'm like, no. I showed him my phone. I'm like, no. It's not a ringtone. Then he showed me his. And then we were just both like, what is that sound? I mean, we are driving down the highway and you can just hear like the witch laugh, right? And we're just both looking at each other. We're like, what in the world is going on? And it went on for like 3 minutes. And we just kept going down the road. And I'm like, well, if it was a person, there's no way we could have heard it. The truck was really loud. The thing is, it wasn't like super loud, but we could hear it. I didn't even want to look in the back seat because I was afraid. It almost felt like it was right there next to us. And one of my friends, she believes in all that weird stuff. And anyway, she told me that if you ever hear the sound quiet, which was not, our sound was not loud and it wasn't like super quiet. But anyway, if it isn't super loud, that means that the witch or whatever that was is next to you. So I stopped the video for a little bit, guys. And I'm telling you guys, this toy just went off. It's a little crib, like a little doll crib. That is so creepy, okay? That really scared me. There's nothing back there. You have to rock the crib in order for it to move. And it literally just went off. Oh gosh. I did not like that. There's no one behind there. This is actually a fake wall. I'm in my doll studio. It scared me. I'm not gonna lie. I literally jumped out of my seat. And I'm like, who is in here? Which nobody can be in here. My security system would have went off. Anyway, you literally have to rock this crib really good for it to go off. So, I don't know how it went off by itself. My husband and I cannot explain what that was. I looked in the back of the truck. I didn't see anything. But my daughter was in the back of the truck. She was really little. I think she was like 3 months old. And we cannot explain what that was. My husband's like, don't tell nobody. They're going to think we're lying or They're not going to believe us, you know, that this happened, but it did happen. Anyway, let's get into the doll story, okay? So I was about 5 to 6 years old. I can't remember exactly. Actually, I'm gonna put a picture of me and my siblings around the time that happened. I used to live in Mexico, right on the border. And you know, living in Mexico is like living in Ohio. Weird things happen there a lot of the time. So one day I was walking outside. We used to live in like this little apartment buildings right there at the border. And I saw this doll. It belonged to one of our neighbors. This lady had 6 boys and she always wanted to have a daughter, but she never could. So she got super attached to this doll. Like whenever you would go to their house, you would see the doll sitting on the table. She would serve it food. She carried this doll around everywhere she went. She treated it like a child. It was really like a lot of the neighbors were starting to talk. They're like, this is so weird. Like she just loves this doll. And like there was one of our neighbors that needed a ride, but she's like, oh, sorry, I can't give you a ride because my daughter isn't here. There's not enough room for you, which her daughter was the doll. She was forced to get rid of the doll by her husband and her kids. Supposedly because her kids and her husband were afraid of this doll. They had weird experiences happen in their house. But anyway, they made her get rid of the doll. She put it outside in the trash. And when my mom and me were going out there, I saw it and I'm like, oh my gosh, Mom, I want a doll. We were really poor, so my mom was super happy to find this doll. She took it home. She washed it up for me. Anyway, I got this doll a week before I moved into my new house. So I played with this doll for about a week. Everything was fine. But at night, the doll, like I could feel it like staring at me. Like this fear would come upon me. It was just really like almost like evil. And it was, I don't know if it was the new house or the doll, but I was starting to become afraid of it. And when I was little, I could have sworn that it turned its head to look like this, like it moved in a weird way. After that, I became very, very afraid of this doll. I remember screaming, ah! Anyway, my mom walked into the room. She's like, what's wrong with you? I'm like, Mom, the doll, it like moved. It like moved its head and I could see it. And she's like, oh, it's just your imagination. Let me turn on a light for you and that way you won't be scared. I was like, no, Mom, I don't even want to be in here. I was really scared. I just felt like an evil presence, I guess you could say. I feel like God made us, you know, where we can see, we can taste, we can smell, we can feel, you know. God made us really amazing. So if you do get a weird feeling like that, definitely, you know, stay on guard. Anyway, the next day I told my mom, I'm like, you get this doll out of here, otherwise I'm not sleeping in my room. I'm going to sleep with you and Dad. Anyway, that same night, my dad arrived home from work. I think he used to arrive home around 2 a.m. in the morning. He used to work a second shift job. Anyway, my mom told him what had happened. And he's like, you know, I didn't want to say anything. He's like, but the other day I came in here, that doll was sitting on the sofa. He's like, I went into the fridge. When I came back, the doll wasn't there. He's like, I thought I was sleeping. I didn't know what was going on. He's like, I found that really weird and odd. He's like, but I didn't want to say anything. And then that kind of scared my mom. And the next day she gave the doll away to this other neighbor. This doll, by the way, was about, I would say like 22 inches. Her hair was made out of yarn. She had on painted eyes. Almost shaped like a reborn, I would say. My mom gave it to this lady. This lady gave it to her daughter. And I guess the girl played with it for a few days. And the boys, she said, were screaming bloody murder one night. And she went in there. She's like, what's wrong? They're like, the doll, it's dancing around. She's like moving. They were sleeping in like bunk beds. And the boys said that they seen the doll moving and dancing around. And they were terrified. Anyway, she said she took the doll and put it outside for the night since the boys were so scared. She said the next day she woke up, the doll was between her and her husband in the bed which is super crazy, I know, but that's what she said happened. So she brought the doll back to my mom, and she was like, why didn't you tell me there was something wrong with this doll? She told her everything that had happened to them. And my mom was like, oh, well, I didn't really think nothing was wrong with it. She's like, I just thought it was my daughter's imagination. She's like, no, she's like, there's something evil or something wrong with that doll. There was this neighbor that lived behind us, in the house behind us, and she was a Jehovah's Witnesses lady. Anyway, she told my mom, we have to burn this doll. There's something evil about it. Let's burn it. Okay, so my mom, that other lady, and a few neighbors gather around. There's a bunch of kids there, I remember. And they put the doll on the ground, and then they put like gasoline on it or whatever, and they lit it up on fire. I'm not kidding you guys. When they were burning this doll, it looked like she was moving. It was so creepy. We're like, what the heck? Like, it was just creepy. I felt bad for the doll getting burnt, but like, it literally looked like it was moving. It was so just the weirdest thing you will ever see. Even the women were like, anyway, after that happened, my mom got me another doll. It was one of those dolls that if you hold the hand on them, they will walk. I can't remember what's the name of them, but they still sell them. I actually have one somewhere around here. I will insert a picture of what that doll looks like. It's a very popular doll. I think like Dollar General still sells those dolls. Anyway, I got that doll and everything was great. You know, everything was fine. But I started to become afraid of it, and I don't know if it was because of the incident I had with the other doll or what had happened. And I remember one night, my mom thinks I was sleepwalking, but I don't know if I was dreaming or if I was awake. I think I was awake because I felt awake. I remember waking up one night, just hearing weird sounds. So I walked in the dark, and I literally seen the doll just standing there. Standing right there in the middle of the, like standing up by herself with her arm. And I screamed so loud. I dropped to my knees. I screamed. My mom came out and she's like, oh my gosh, are you okay? And I'm like, yes, mom, the doll is right here. She's like, I don't see anything. And she's like, I think you were sleepwalking, which I never did that. I don't think I did. I mean, I could have that day. Like I said, I don't know. I literally saw the doll. She was just standing there like that. It was just super scary. I remember just screaming and screaming, and my mom thinks that I was sleepwalking. So I don't know if I was or if I wasn't. Anyway, I went to lay down in bed with my mom because I was really, really scared. Because I mean, this doll was bigger. You know, they are a little bit bigger. And it was just super scary just to find her there standing, hearing weird sounds and her just standing. Anyway, I went to lay in bed with my mom and dad, and when I got into bed, I felt her hand. I felt like the doll touched me, and I started screaming, and my mom was like, why are you screaming? I'm like, Mom, I felt the doll just touch me and grab me. She's like, no. She's like, I think you're just scared. I literally felt the plastic like grab me, but the doll wasn't there. But anyway, I got rid of that doll. I still love dolls. I collect them. I am not afraid of them. Not at all, guys. I feel like a doll is no different than like this cup, you know, because it's plastic. A doll is the same thing, you know. I mean, there's nothing that can, like, a piece of plastic can't hurt you, you know, unless you like somebody hits you with it or something. But a doll is no different than this. All I can think is that maybe that lady, if she was doing like weird stuff to try to, you know, put like a soul into the doll or doing some evil stuff to it, maybe that's what caused the doll to be that way. I am not afraid of any dolls. I actually, most of the time during the week, I'm upstairs with hundreds of dolls, and I've never had anything weird happen here. I don't know how to explain any of that. If you guys have any weird paranormal activity stories, let me know in the comments. I would love to hear what has happened to you. My husband and I will never be able to explain that witch laughing sound that I heard, but I know I was older at that time, and my husband heard it just like I heard it. I know my family, they have lots of stories of the Llorona, the cry lady. It's like a legend. I've never had any experiences like that, and I hope never to. But anyway, guys, this is going to be all for my story time. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I'm terrible at explaining things, so if you have any questions, let me know in the comments, and I will answer everyone's question. But anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a like and subscribe, and I will see you guys in my next video. Thanks for watching. Bye.